Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the Pluto crossover years, which are the years when Pluto moves between two astrological signs, completing his journey through one while putting his toe in the next one and opening up that energy. So this is often intense in terms of world event and global changes. Pluto moving back and forth between astrological signs is a significant shift in energy, and that's what we feel. That's what is happening within us at a cellular level. We are also tuning in to these energetic, evolutionary experiences that are underway. And Pluto is also finishing up its time between another part of our energy. So I'm going to discuss this in terms of the energetics, but also we will discuss what this means globally, how these energies are going to be working with us collectively, but also how we feel them and experience them individually. Pluto is going to enter Aquarius for the first time on March 24th. Well, it will venture to only 0 degrees of Aquarius and then leave Aquarius and return back into Capricorn June 12th. Pluto will then go back to 27 degrees, 54 minutes of Capricorn, then venture forward and re-enter Aquarius January 21st, 2024, and stay in Aquarius for most of the year. Pluto will be in Aquarius January 21st to September 2nd, 2024, then re-enter Capricorn again, going back to 29 degrees, 39 minutes of Capricorn, before re-entering Aquarius and staying there as of November 20th, 2024. So this is why these crossover years are very interesting, because we have Pluto moving back and forth between Capricorn, which is the third and final Earth sign in the zodiac wheel. This is significant because Capricorn is about the accumulation of Earth sign energy. It's what has been physically developed and manifested into some form, into some structure. And this energy also directly relates to the 3D. It relates to our experiences of the world that we can see, touch, interact with. It's certainly about the Capricorn energies that we've been discussing for years now that are about our structures, businesses, institutions, governments, power hierarchies. Capricorn is about the institutions in the world that we rely on, that are meant to give our lives a form of structure, that are meant to show us what we're responsible for, what we need to do, how we need to show up. Capricorn is about responsibility, maturity, and commitments. And Pluto moving through Capricorn has been deeply working with each of us on those energies. And so since 2008, 2009, when Pluto moved into Capricorn, we have been on this very intense journey of tuning into our life purpose. What am I here to do professionally? What career is best for me that relates to my energy? What parts of my life do I need to take more responsibility for? Where is Pluto in Capricorn requiring my own transformation and evolution? And for more specifics, you can look at the Capricorn areas of your chart where Pluto has been moving through since 2008, 2009. Now, it's important to note that those were the last two crossover years where Pluto moved in between the last degrees of Sagittarius and the first degrees of Capricorn. And during that time, the crossover years were about what we had exaggerated, what was inflated, what wasn't real. And that's where we saw the housing market crash. That's where we saw a lot of businesses affected by those inflated numbers or what wasn't real. And so during the Pluto crossover years is when there's significant revelations, truths, things coming up that were previously suppressed or hidden. And that's going to be one of the themes here in 2023 and 2024 is that we're going to look at whatever the Pluto in Capricorn energies and entities have been hiding. have been keeping hidden? What has been the ongoing underground struggle and fight? Where have the powers been dueling, and what is truly happening below the surface? And as Pluto leaves an astrological sign, he doesn't leave any stone unturned. He doesn't leave any skeletons in the closet or secrets hidden in some vault or compartment. Pluto reveals. So during the crossover years, we get huge truths. We get things that maybe we weren't aware of that come to light, that come back up to be seen. And that's how Pluto does his work, because Pluto is about really looking at the truth of energy. And that's different for each of us, but that's also something that Pluto requires us to tap into for ourselves. There is often a deep excavation process with Pluto. So over these 2 years, we're going to have more truths revealed around what's been happening within these Capricorn institutions and structures. We're going to have more truths illuminated around businesses, corporations, government entities, and structures. There's going to be very big energies happening here that can be very destabilizing for the population. There can be things here that are hard to accept, hard to look at. This is often the case when Pluto changes signs, because again, it will depend on how well you have been digesting, processing, and understanding certain truths, and where you're at in your own journey with those themes. So cognitive dissonance can be a big theme with Pluto, where there's truths you don't want to see or you don't want to accept. It goes against what you believe or what you've been thinking. And this is where the Pluto energies can be earth-shaking for people. It's where it can be very difficult because can be a challenge to what you've accepted or what you were believing. But Pluto makes things very evident, very clear. So there's going to be shocks and revelations. There's going to be things that fall apart, fall down, that have barely been holding on. And these collapses might seem immediate, but truly they've been slowly unraveling behind the scenes for a number of years now. So again, this Pluto in Capricorn has been working with us collectively, but it's been working with you individually in the Capricorn areas of your chart. And you could look back on how much has changed and evolved for you since 2008, 2009 in these Capricorn themes. Because now as Pluto gets to these final degree points here, over the next 2 years, there's going to be this squeezing energy where it's almost like something that isn't real is going to be squeezed out. Something that isn't truthful is going to come up to light. And this is where there can be a lot of discomfort, rage, angst, anger. This is where there can be a lot of emotions coming up that perhaps we didn't even realize we were suppressing or holding down. But it needs to come out. It needs to be released. So understand that there is an intensity in the energy signature here as Pluto finishes up the energies of Capricorn and enters into the new territory of Aquarius. And I will get to that energy here in just a minute. But I want to touch on how Pluto in Capricorn is meant to show us what we really truly need to know, what we need to feel, what we need to move through. And that's why there is an intensity here. And if you have planets or points in the final degrees of Capricorn, specifically 27, 28, and 29 degrees of Capricorn, this energy is working with you most personally. If you have planets or points at 27, 28, or 29 degrees of the cardinal signs, the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, then this is also turning point energies for you, as Pluto usually brings about life changes, new developments, something being renovated and worked with, but it's a slow moving process with Pluto. And then if you have planets or points in the earth signs at 27, 28, or 29 degrees of Taurus or Virgo, then this Pluto energy is supporting you in a transformation in your life, in parts of yourself, in parts of what you have built, developed, and created in your physical world. So Pluto is always about the bigger energies that can feel overwhelming because they aren't something that the ego can push back against. In fact, there could be things here that maybe you're afraid of or resisting. Perhaps there's energies here that are bringing up a lot for you. That's exactly what Pluto wants you to look at. Look at those subconscious fears. Look at those parts of yourself that have been repressed or held back, because Pluto wants you to tap into those energies to feel empowered, to see how there is an evolutionary process here that is much bigger than this lifetime, much bigger than this one chapter or this one self-identity that you know as yourself. This is about the bigger picture of energetics on the planet and how we're meant to keep evolving them and moving them forward. So the Capricorn areas of your chart have been undergoing a lot since 2008, 2009, and it's also helped put you on ideally a truer path of who you are in regards to, again, the Capricorn areas of your status, your title, your career, what you do for a living, how you show up in the world, your responsibilities in the world, and what that means to you. I feel at an intuitive level that this has also been a deep activation for starseeds, light workers, healers, those of you who were in various 3D structures for work, and you've understood how much you have grown, how much you have shifted, and whether or not that still supports you or not. Keep in mind that many light workers and starseeds are energetically designed to be in these 3D structures, to be a part of the energetics of certain corporations, institutions, and businesses. So although many people could feel like they're meant to move out or move away from these jobs, there's others who are meant to stay because of how you are infusing your energy in these environments, in these places. So know that it doesn't mean there's always a grand exodus for every starseed or light worker. Rather, it would depend on what you are here for, what is correct for you energetically, and also where you are satisfied, where you are feeling like these are my gifts, these are my talents. I'm meant to be in this space, and I'm meant to bring my light and my energy into these spaces. So for example, working at a financial institution, you could be a very strong light worker who is made to be in these environments because of your energy signature and because of perhaps what you're anchoring down, what you're lighting up. Again, it's not like it's one path for everyone. So I want to let you know that, because some people might think, oh no, I'm supposed to leave this job and do something else. But the truth is, if you love that job, if it's correct for you, if you enjoy it, if it's satisfying, then that's the energetic affirmation that you're in the right place. But for many, you are only meant to be in these 3D structures for a little bit of your journey. And that's because you are meant to understand more of who you are. You're also meant to have a comparison. You're meant to be learning from these experiences, learning from these energies, and understanding who you are, your strengths, your abilities, your talents, and also who you are not. The parts of you that have evolved through the 3D structures and perhaps no longer feel a resonance with them, no longer feel like this is my long-term path. Or maybe you've understood that the traditional route, or what you thought would be a career or profession, it served its purpose. It served its time. And that's really important, is to have gratitude for every chapter in your life, to have a sense of understanding what you were learning, what you were experiencing, what you were moving through, to honor that part of your journey, because too often there can be a sense of being discontent or pissed off or feeling like this wasn't what I thought it would be. There can be a lot of emotions that come up with that. But ultimately, when you move on from a place, it's also about connecting with the unique energies that you learned and moved through so that you can move forward with gratitude and peace into the next calling. So on a global scale, we're going to continue to see these Capricorn institutions fall apart and crumble. There will be more mass layoffs. There will be more people being pushed out of leadership roles. In fact, because Capricorn is about the CEO, the institutions, and who leads them, we're going to see more of those jobs falling down, falling apart. I'm just seeing things crash. This is where we're going to see more people ousted because they haven't been in the higher vibrations of Capricorn. And Pluto wants to remove the lower vibrations. So if a leader has been in integrity, has been operating with a sense of responsibility for everyone they're in charge of or everyone they govern, then Pluto rewards that energy. Pluto reinforces that healthy power. But if there has been unhealthy power, manipulation, betrayal, secrets, lies, things happening behind the scenes that are very destructive and damaging, that's the energy that Pluto will excavate and uproot. So we're going to see more people in leadership roles fall from grace. Pluto is going to reveal the truth of what they've been involved in or what they've been doing. It's also going to reveal anyone who has been really operating from a very selfish place. Capricorn really wants us to be in our authority and to show up understanding that we are responsible for other people too, even if it's not through a direct role, meaning the energetics you bring into a place affects the whole. So how are you affecting the whole? And if someone is not operating from that place, again, that's where Pluto comes through and removes them. It's sort of like when you're watching a play and that big hook comes from the left side of the stage to pull somebody off the stage, remove them from the act. That's what's going to continue to happen. There are going to be more energies of individuals and leaders essentially being removed. And this is because of what they've been involved in and where they have not been responsible with their energies. In fact, these energies could even be bringing up cellular memories of Atlantis, where there are energies playing out on this timeline that directly relate to the fall of Atlantis and the destruction of it through corrupt leadership and how that affected the masses. Now, we are not at that same place on the planet. We're not at that same energy. We're not at that same level of consciousness. So it isn't going to be the same fallout, but you could feel something perhaps coming up within you that feels familiar, especially if you have a resonance with Atlantis lifetimes and energies. Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn are also energies of how we are maintaining our authority and sense of power amongst this demolition and renovation that we've been discussing. These are energies that are very personal on one hand, in terms of what you are here to understand about Capricorn energies in yourself, as well as how those energies have manifested in the world at large and how we are moving through this very big cycle of transformation that takes time. Because Pluto is so slow moving, these are not quick transformations. There is a process that unfolds across many years. And that means we're in these periods of time where we have to just be in the energy. We have to just move through the discomfort, the angst, what is unknown. And it's going to be very important during these crossover years, 2023 and 2024, to really understand the energies you're working with within yourself. What's coming up in your emotional body? What's coming up in your fear body? What's coming up within you in ways that you might not intellectually understand? There's energies here that can't be dealt with through rationale or reasoning. It's something much deeper that runs through us. And so we're going to need to really be using our energetic tools in order to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel stable, in order to know that we've got this. And this is not about recreating what was before. Rather, this is a lifetime where we recreate new outcomes, new pathways, new potentials and ways of moving through these things that are falling down, where we don't feel like we're energetically tied to them for a long period of time. I'm feeling like there are already many light workers, many starseeds on the planet who have moved away from this timeline where you're not interested in some of these 3D energies, structures, institutions, leaders. You're not interested in the governments, the politics, the business. You're not drawn to that anymore. You've moved away from it. And it's not because you don't care, quote unquote. It's because there is no longer an energetic connection. And that's exactly what's needed, because we need people who are moving further ahead, who are farther in the energetics, to be creating and focusing on the new, what is possible and what you can invest your energy in next. So there will continue to be these widening gaps of energetic separation where there will be people who are heavily invested in what is happening in the 3D. And then you're going to find that there are many people who don't even know what's going on. And it's not because they're intentionally out of touch. It's because they just don't hold an energetic connection. So that will be also a way that we have to stay mindful, stay aware, understand what you're navigating through, and also understanding that there are going to be other people who are in very different experiences as Pluto continues to destruct the lower vibes of Capricorn and tear down what perhaps we thought would last forever, what we thought would be in place long term. But that is not the energetic experience at this time, because that isn't the energy on the planet. We are holding more light. We are not as dense. We are not as weighed down by karma and the lower expressions of each chakra. In fact, how I'm viewing this is that there has been a deep recreation of the energies within each chakra, and that's what is now spinning. That's what's also accelerating. So for some people, you could feel like you are moving ahead, leaps and bounds, because of what you've been working through, healing, addressing the fears you've been looking at within yourself, the karma you're over with, the soul contracts that have ended. Now, this means there are new things that come up. There are new areas of growth and transformation that come up. But you could feel like there's things happening within the 3D physical world that are no longer connected to you. And this would be confirmation of your own growth. Pluto empowers where we are in our power. Pluto supports us in our truth. Pluto supports us in our willingness to transform. So it doesn't mean that as things are continuing to disintegrate and fall apart, that you're going to be feeling that. We're also going to have people who are very much empowered during these times, who are feeling the higher expressions of Pluto and who are ready to venture forward and to continue doing what you came here on the planet to do. In fact, I'm getting these very strong vibrations, like these very strong influxes of energy that are basically shining on light workers and starseeds who are here to be in their power in this lifetime, who are saying, we're doing things differently on this planet. We're doing it differently for humanity. And that is something that is going to be very strong as Pluto moves into Aquarius. We're going to do it differently because energies on the planet are in a very different place. And by differently, I mean different than Atlantis, but also different than other civilizations that were destroyed and torn apart through corrupt leadership, through a lack of responsibility to the people. To those who were greedy and only invested in their own gain. That is also what's falling down and falling apart. Now, Pluto in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn enters Pisces the same month that Pluto enters Aquarius. So what we're going to see here is a very interesting dance that actually involves things being washed away and completed at a very significant level. Pluto in Capricorn is working with the energies of Saturn in Pisces, but also working with an ongoing sextile to Neptune in Pisces. Keep in mind that Pluto and Neptune have been in a sextile for nearly a century, over a century. They've been about 2 or 3 degrees apart, traveling together. And what is happening now is that as Pluto moves through the final degrees of Capricorn, Neptune is also reaching the final degrees of Pisces. These are big endings. These are big areas of completion, unraveling, letting go. This can be hard on our nervous system at times because it brings up the uncertainty. It brings up a lack of knowing what's next. So we have Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune entering the final degrees of Pisces as well. This is strong completions on this planet. You are living through a significant changeover of energy, and that can be very exciting and very interesting, but it also can bring up things that are ending that maybe we didn't expect. We didn't forecast it to end. And this is where there are going to be things that we just sit in with no clear answer right away, where there will be voids, there will be unknowns. And during those periods of time, we have to regulate ourselves. We have to take care of our emotional self and our intuitive self. I'm also feeling, however, this is going to be a powerful time of creativity. This is where we're going to be guided to do what we need to do to stay higher, to stay above the fray, above the turmoil as needed and when needed. And there can be a lot that comes in that opens up your self-expression, your creativity, that allows you to basically work with the strengths of your energy as a way to ground yourself and stabilize yourself as we move through a huge chapter in humanity's experiences. So this is big endings. These are big things that are meant to be washed away and taken away so that we can move into the new. But this is not a fast process. This doesn't happen on Friday and then by Monday there's a new solution showing up. These are bigger energies that take time, that take years to move through. So we're moving through significant years of endings and completions. And how do you take care of yourself during those cycles, during those periods of the unknown? And this will be one thing that will be front and center for us to ensure that we're maintaining our light, our vibration, that we're maintaining our strength, and we're also maintaining our trust. So during these crossover years, please look at what raises your vibration, what supports you, where you go that lifts you up, that feels rewarding and interesting and exciting. And this could be anything that calls to you. Certainly your creativity can be something that you want to invest in. Maybe there's things that you enjoy, your hobbies, your passions, things you do that just lift you up. You just look forward to it. That's going to be very important to have front and center so that you're able to contain your energy and understand that there's a purpose for every cycle. There's a purpose for everything we're moving through. And at this time on the planet, because of how humanity is evolving, we also feel the responsibility of our energy, the responsibility of our light. So keep in mind that as these energies continue to unfold, there will be things that rock us, that shake us. There will be things that are unexpected. But this is also where we practice coming back to ourselves, grounding in, tuning in with your chakras, tuning in with your own energies, and understanding where you can support yourself, where you can support your loved ones, where you can continue to support what is necessary in your life. That alone activates the matrix and the grid. That alone lights up the power lines on the planet as well as the ley lines on the planet. These are the energies that we can anchor in, that we can amplify and work with, that also remind you of your purpose on this planet. Your purpose of being alive at this time is to hold a frequency, hold the light, maintain a steadiness amongst these big unstable times. And that will be something that maybe some days we'll feel like, yes, I'm doing this well. And other days it could feel like it's not as great or you're not as strong. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. That's part of the human journey. But it's about coming back to these places in yourself that you know that are here to support you and help you move through these very big energy cycles. As Pluto moves back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn, when Pluto's in Capricorn, he will answer to Saturn. Saturn in Pisces is about completions, karma ending, things unfolding, unraveling, saying bye, Felicia, letting things go. All of that signifies that we are moving through big endings in Capricorn and Pisces energies. Then as Pluto moves into Aquarius, it begins to connect with the energies of Uranus and Taurus. Now, before I go into that, I do want to note that in 2023, Pluto in Aquarius hangs out at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is also the point of the great conjunction that we had between Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. That was in December 2020. So here is Pluto now triggering the depths of that energy, triggering more of what is going on within these Aquarian energies that are opening up even more on the planet. Now we're seeing these energies come alive through ongoing protests, through individuals who are standing up to governments, because part of the crossover and back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius with Pluto is who has the power, who's in control. And this could be an interesting question, and this could be an interesting thing to explore, because when we look at this energy, we think of how there's things that we have given energy to guide us, to navigate, to support us, to lead us. But Pluto moving into Aquarius is about what is not traditional, what is not working, what needs to be changed, and where the revolution and the rebellion becomes even stronger. So Pluto goes into Aquarius, sits at the point of the great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter, and is activating more of the depths of humanity's power. Now, this can be chaos. This is disruptive, because think of anarchy. I mean, this is where everything comes out. This is Pandora's box. This is where everything can come up and out. But that's part of what Pluto wants. It doesn't want repression. It doesn't want things to be held back. Rather, we're meant to bring it to light, which involves a lot of disruption. So this is a disruptive energy. This is where there's going to be places on the planet where the Aquarian energies are going to be very alive. They could feel very unsafe, uncertain. It could feel like you don't know what's going to be torn down. I'm getting the visuals of various revolutions that have taken place on the planet. For example, the French Revolution. I'm seeing a revolution in Russia. I'm seeing revolutions also in Asia, and I can't quite pinpoint a century or timeline, but revolutions are part of humanity's experience, and they are meant to show us more of what we want, more of our power. But it's interesting how a revolution or rebellion just by itself doesn't mean it's effective, doesn't mean it's going to bring about change. In fact, throughout history, what has brought about change are often a lot of these rebellions and revolutions that are organized, that are well organized in terms of what they're going to accomplish, how to go about it, etc. So there's going to be some interesting things happening where there could be a lot of chaos, but if it's not really organized or if it doesn't really move forward, it might not have results. It might not bring about long-lasting change. So there's things that will need to be figured out, so to speak, as Pluto moves into Aquarius and triggers more of what humanity is here for in this lifetime. And because I'm feeling this energy directly tied into Atlantis, it's going to stir up some of those memories of perhaps what went wrong, where we gave our power away, where we weren't in our power. And that looks different in different parts of the world. That looks different in different times in our lives. So it's a very interesting thing to play with. It's almost like the puzzle of power. What does that mean for you in this lifetime? But then what does that mean for humanity's collective evolution as well? So Pluto enters Aquarius March 24th, 2023, and stays there, stations retrograde until June 12th, where it re-enters Capricorn. Then Pluto will re-enter Aquarius January 21st until September 2nd, 2024. Go back into Capricorn for a few months and then return to Aquarius November 20th, 2024, where it will stay until 2044. So we will have 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius compared to 16 years-ish of Pluto in Capricorn. So Pluto stays longer in Aquarius, and Aquarius is very unpredictable. And this energy directly relates to Uranus. So now we're going to see Pluto in Aquarius working with Uranus in Taurus, which has been destabilizing our values, our financial systems, our markets. It has been really working with what needs to collapse and come undone. And so there's going to be more things that fall apart if they don't have the best of humanity in its energetic vibration. And we're also going to see things that further bring up how we use technology, science, engineering, space exploration. Aquarius opens up what has really been going on below the surface in the areas of human advancement, including transhumanism, cloning, AI, DNA, and hybrid experiments, plus all of the off-planet experiments that have been going on in space, everything that has been an ongoing experiment in different environments using different scientific resources, and also what's been going on off planet with other species. So a lot going on with hybrid species. Again, the DNA cloning and DNA hybrid work, which has always taken place on this planet. All of that is actually going to be coming to light. We're going to see even more coming up around these types of scientific experiments that have perhaps been used or determined to be advancements, but we don't know that for sure yet. We don't know what kind of advancement that is until it plays out. So there's going to be a lot here that humanity is going to become aware of, including how your DNA is being used, what it's being used for, and what's been going on behind the scenes. And I'm seeing a lot of different laboratories. I'm seeing actually laboratories in the oceans that have also been conducting various experiments to test what humanity's DNA is capable of, as well as, again, the off-planet experiments as well. So everything that seems very odd and really far out there is going to be coming up front and center as Pluto enters Aquarius. We've already seen this stuff around us. Well, I shouldn't generalize. That doesn't mean that everybody has, but there's already been hints of it. There already have been discussions of it. This has already been an area of ongoing exploration behind the scenes for decades. But with Pluto entering Aquarius, it comes to light. It is revealed, and we start to understand more of what's been happening behind the scenes. This also directly relates to our digital advancements, digital currency, for example, EFTs, NFTs, things happening with Bitcoin. All of that is going to become bigger on the planet. I was just reading how South America countries might be creating their own currency, their own block currency. That's certainly a part of this energy. Anything with how we exchange energy and then how it's made to be digital which of course makes it trackable, which makes it something that creates data points. All of that is being emphasized with Pluto entering Aquarius and Aquarius answering to Uranus and Taurus. So there's going to be a lot here that comes up around how we spend money, how we save money, how it's being tracked, how it's being invested, what is being accumulated, what is being spent, and ultimately how we use electronics, the convenience of the internet, the convenience of everything being on our phones, the convenience of everything we do and say and connect with on social media. All of these themes are going to become even bigger. And with Pluto entering Aquarius, there could be things that are abruptly shut down, where it's just switched off, it's turned off. There could also be things that are further empowered because Pluto will give power and energy to anything that is meant to keep evolving and transforming. So we're going to see some things die away and be over, as well as other things come to life and gain momentum and speed. There could be a reality check here about everything we do online. There could be even more things coming up around the dark web and Web 3, Web 3.0. There could be more that comes up around what is truly happening with all of the technology that we have on this planet. How is it being used? Is it responsible? Is it for the best and highest good? And when it's not, Pluto comes through and exposes it. So we're going to have new things that surprise us, that come out of the blue. Again, cognitive dissonance is very powerful with Pluto because there's certain things you could subscribe to and Pluto will say that's not real, that's not truth. And then it could feel like it's screwing with your mind or with what you thought was true. So we're going to have some very big wake-up calls here and it's going to shake things up. It could shake you to your core at times, but remember, this is where you bring in your tools to work with whatever's coming up for you in your fear body, in your emotional body, and to further move that energy along so that you are operating from a place of trust in yourself, trust in an ongoing cycle that doesn't just play out overnight, where you're able to navigate these energies with a sense of trust in yourself and not giving away your power, not thinking that you have to subscribe to certain things or participate in certain things, even if everybody else is doing it. This is where we're going to see, again, more of that personal rebellion, more of that energy of, no, that's not for me. I'm not doing that. That doesn't have my name on it. And so this is also part of what we're meant to trust for ourselves and own in our own sense of power and self. The Pluto crossover years shake things up. It's destabilizing. And so this is where you can really get clear on what you need to do to stabilize your frequency and to trust yourself. This is also where we look back on hindsight and understand what we were learning, how we were growing, what we were needing to see. And so for some people, this can trigger some very deep trauma and PTSD from other lifetimes. And then that would be your assignment to work through that and to look at how to reprogram that and reconfigure it for yourself. For other people, you won't feel that way at all. In fact, you could feel ready for what's next, ready to go forward, ready for whatever is coming up for you as well. So this always works with each of us differently depending on your chart. If you have planets or points in the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, then Pluto is finishing up working with you. I've mentioned before that I've had 20 years of Pluto transits. I'm not done yet, but I'm almost done. And so 20 years of Pluto transits does a number on you, changes you in profound ways. And I'm ready for this energy to move into Aquarius. I'm here for it. Let's go. But of course, there's still things that have to be finished up in Capricorn. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, then it's going to start working heavily with the fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. If you have planets or points in the fixed signs, Pluto in Aquarius is here to now reprogram you, transform you in profound ways, help you connect with more of your truth, more of what you're here to experience on the planet, and it will be a period of deep and profound life changes, because that's simply how Pluto works. So these are very big energies. They are collective energies, but we each have an individual responsibility to ourselves and what we're choosing, how we're choosing to show up, how we're choosing to work with our own nervous systems, our own energy systems at this time, and to know that, again, this is what we're here for. We're here to maintain a certain frequency, a certain vibration. And even if you feel like you're being tossed back and forth sometimes, come back to center, stabilize, ground in, and understand that your energy matters. It matters in what is unfolding at this time. And it matters as well in your soul's intention to be here on the planet and contribute during these periods of very deep, significant change. So this is a big deal. And I have discussed the energies of Pluto before and how we can have soul exhaustion. We could be exhausted from all of this stuff, and that's okay too. I will link to those podcast episodes below if you want to listen to that and allow that to support you and validate you. But know that during these Pluto crossover years, there is significant energy that we're meant to experience. We're meant to see it. We're meant to understand what's been happening on the planet so that we can make new choices. We can allow the higher consciousness and higher vibrations to guide us forward as other periods close out and significant endings occur. As always, thank you so much for joining me with this podcast. I'm delighted to connect with you through this exciting world of astrology, and we will keep this conversation going. I'm going to just tune in and tap in if there's more to share on this topic right now. It is a big topic. There's things that I don't disclose or share publicly. I have to trust that for myself, but I'm going to tune in and see if there's more that I can go into. And if so, we will continue this topic next week. I'll be back on Wednesday for another episode as we discuss the weekly energies. In the meantime, you can find out more about my latest astrology courses and programs at mollymccord.online, where these are programs to help you know your energy, to understand who you are in this lifetime through the wisdom of astrology, and to understand what you are about in this lifetime. So please check out those programs if you're interested. Otherwise, wishing you a beautiful week ahead, a beautiful day ahead. Thank you so much for connecting with me, and I will see you back here soon.